Name is Mike Teague, Miketeague.
You said you're born and raised in Oceanside.
Yep.
So if you could detail, your experience with Oceanside and how historic this fire is and what it means to you.
I was thinking that on my way down here. It's a beautiful, quiet little community to live in. Born and raised here. There's everything you need. And as I'm driving down, I'm thinking about the historical loss that our town is suffering due to this fire. Hopefully they can save it. Hopefully it's just the end of the pier. But I have memories of surfing as a kid, eating at the restaurant down there, fishing off of there. It's so historical with all the historical stuff we got going on down here. It's a tragedy. Hopefully it won't be completely lost and they might be able to rebuild it. But even when they rebuild it, it's not the same it was. It'll never be the same it was. This is tragic to our little community. So many people use the pier. It's such an icon. And just the whole way down here, just trying to prepare myself for what I'm about to see and how bad it's going to be. And it's tragic. Our little pier that is such an icon. It's tough to digest. As I was getting down here, I left the parking lot and told a coworker, "Hey, dude, I'm going to go down to Oceanside for the sunset party. You going to go?" He's like, "Nope, but the pier's on fire." I was like, "Say what?" He's like, "Yeah, the pier's on fire. A friend sent him a picture." I was like, "No, you're joking." He's like, "Showed me the picture." I was like, "Oh my God." So just driving down here, your mind races about how bad is it? Can we save it? Our historical, our pier. So it was just tragic.
Have you heard of any injuries or anything of that sort?
I have not. I got here about 8 to 10 minutes before you came up to me and just standing back here. Without giving a report, so I'm not trying to pull my phone out and get on the internet like everybody else is probably packed with this story going on. So I'm not even sure how it started. It looks like it's out at the very end.
So good afternoon. My name is David Parsons. I'm the fire chief, Oceanside Fire Department. I have with me Mayor Sanchez, Mayor of the City of Oceanside, Assistant City Manager Michael Gossman, representing the City Manager's Office, and Deputy Mayor Ryan Keim. An update on where we are right now. At 3:02 p.m. we were called for a fire at the pier. It was reported by the lifeguards is how it came into dispatch center. There was a civilian reporting party that we're gathering information from. I don't have anything to add from that point yet. The main body of fire, which was involving both the building and the structure of the pier on top, has essentially been knocked down and they're keeping it under control. There is fire underneath the pier at this moment that they're having a little bit of a hard time getting to, but we're making slow progress with using fire boats and the water dropping helicopter. We do have contingency plans in place in case the fire continues to move east down the pier to make sure that it does not damage the pier any further than minimally necessary. So I'd say that's positive news that we've held it to the point it is right now, but there's still a lot of work to do. We do have fire investigators who are on scene. They've already begun interviews. I don't have any information on that to provide yet, and we may not for a few days because that takes some time to gather information. What I'll do right now is turn it over to Mayor Sanchez for a statement, and I'll be right back. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Okay, thank you very much. First of all, we would like to thank all the cities, all the agencies that are out here helping us fight this fire. This is a very, very critical pier for us. This is iconic of Oceanside, beloved. We've had a pier for probably over a century, and so this pier and what has happened, this is the first time we've ever had a fire on the pier, losing any part of a pier to fire. The past has been storms, but we are very grateful to the cities of Carlsbad, Vista, San Diego, Cal Fire. We're just so very grateful that they have come. Also the Coast Guard. 36 units are here, possibly even more at this point. We've got 11 fire trucks. We've got 3 boats. and plus the Coast Guard, 3 Coast Guard ships. So we're very, very grateful. The building itself, my understanding is that the decision was to take a defensive tactic, and that is to basically make sure that we recover as much of the pier as possible, defend the pier. So the fact that there was a restaurant there, the restaurant was secondary to the rescue here. So the restaurant has been there since I was in high school in the 70s. So this is something that's been around for many, many, many years. My understanding is that all employees have been accounted for. At this point, we hear that there are no injuries. Obviously, we're going to continue to check to make sure that everyone that is known to have been on the pier is safe. So we are very, very thankful to everyone that is here. I've already received a call from Congressman Mike Levin, who is very interested in wanting to help us in whatever we want to do, and obviously we're going to want to rebuild the pier as quickly as possible. We don't know about the restaurant. That is something that will probably take a little longer to decide. But thank you very much, and we've heard from the chief. The chief has the most up-to-date information, and he's the point of contact. And I'm going to go ahead and give it over to our Assistant City Manager, Michael Gossman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I simply want to just thank all of our first responders who quickly responded to this incident that cleared everybody off of the pier to save lives, prevent injury. And I want to thank all the mutual aid agencies who in many cases self-deploy to get out here and help a neighbor. So I want to thank all of them. That's all I have to say, but I'll hand it over to the Deputy Mayor if you have anything you'd like to add.
Again, reiterate the mayor and staff, we can't do this by ourselves. We are very, very grateful for our partners, our responding cities, and our first responders out here that are taking care of this. Thank you again.
Okay, so I do have details for you. I wanted to make sure that we got our elected officials to get their words in. So, as I stated, the call went out at 3:02 p.m. We had a 5-minute response time. The first engine was on scene at 3:07, and we had a large amount of support. The mayor, assistant city manager, deputy mayor have mentioned some of those folks, and I have a rundown of agencies that are on scene right now. So obviously you have Oceanside Fire Department, Oceanside Police Department. We're the incident command and the lead agencies. In either unified command presence or as agency representatives, we have Carlsbad Fire, Vista Fire, Cal OES, Office of Emergency Services, Cal Fire, San Diego Hazmat, Coast Guard with a boat, a Coast Guard cutter, and they'll have some hazmat representation as well. We do have a helicopter from San Diego Gas and Electric on the way. It's their large Type 1 helicopter, which is a large water dropping helicopter. San Diego Lifeguards, Camp Pendleton. There's probably more that I've missed, and for those partners, I will just reiterate, as you can see, we couldn't do it without the assistance of our public safety partners, elected officials. We've had a lot of outreach from the North Zone fire chiefs for their partnership. They're offering up the world, and we're using a lot of it, so we certainly appreciate that. In terms of numbers of resources, the mayor gave a start on that. 36 total resources. Fire chiefs, ladder trucks, engines, rescue ambulances, Oceanside fireboats, the Coast Guard cutter fireboat. We have a private boat that's offering assistance, Manson, who provides the beach replenishment. They had water capabilities, so we are utilizing them. It's been a great help. The water dropping helicopters. We have Office of Emergency Services. It's called Intel 24, and that's a FIRUS platform, which is infrared. It's a high altitude platform of infrared and camera system, and they're providing a live feed to the incident command post right now, letting us know where hot spots are and where the fire is on the pier. So As you can see, we've thrown a lot of resources at this. The pier is a special place for us here in the city. It's a special place for visitors, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure it remains that way. At this point, I'm available for questions, and I may toss it to an individual here if it's something that they'll be better to answer.
You guys get a lot of
Stand by. Go
Fire
ahead.
departments all over the county routinely do drills. When was the last time a fire drill was done on the pier?
We do an annual fire drill and events on the drill because this is what we call a target hazard. It's a special place. It'd be like a mall or a school, and we know that's a unique place in the county. We do an annual drill. We do invite our partners. They come on occasion. Question.
You guys get a lot of calls, whether it's a house fire or a business. Your reaction when that call came in that it's the actual pier on fire?
So you want to see an office clear out in no time flat. You see this address come out. We had some chief officers in the office as soon as this happened. We didn't even wait to see if it's what we call a working upgrade or an actual working fire, because sometimes we get notified of fire and there's nothing there. So as soon as this address came out, all hands on deck. And that includes, we have chief officers from other agencies that just essentially self-dispatched and offer themselves up to the Oceanside Fire Department to work on the incident. And I can tell you, we've put every single one of them to work.
Sir, you mentioned that there's a concern about the fire being underneath here. Talk about how this could have gone from bad to worse without knocking that section down or getting that mitigated so it doesn't spread all the way up and maybe torch the whole thing.
Yeah, so the last information I have is there was still fire under the pier. We haven't actually stopped that entire burning process. We're slowing it down, but we have a contingency plan, and that contingency plan is actually cutting out planks of the pier to stop the progress of the fire, because these are very heavy, large wooden planks. Some of them have creosote on them for preservatives. So it's a little bit of a tough thing underneath the pier, and things drop. So we can't get the boats directly underneath it, obviously. So for safety reasons, they stand off. Like I said, we felt good about the progress we made by the time I'm speaking to you, but we haven't got a full knockdown yet. And that's what we're looking for, is a knockdown on the fire. Then we start working on overhaul, which is to make sure there's nothing still hidden or anything like that.
Can you kind of go over, and apologies if you're repeating this, a rundown of the kind of fuel there? So what was inside the vacant restaurant, maybe what the plans were and how this affects the renovations, just what can be accounted for? There's one other small business towards the front here.
So there are two businesses that would normally be on the pier. The restaurant at the end of the pier used to be a Ruby's restaurant, is no longer in operation. It was in the process of being remodeled and having a tenant improvement performed for a new restaurant. I don't know at what state it was at that time. So there was nobody present in that restaurant. There was nobody present in the kiosk, which is another private business. It's a smaller, approximately 10 by 10 foot building. There was flame near that kiosk, but I don't have any details on that situation. So that's all I have for you on that one.
And in terms of renovations of the pier as a whole, is this kind of a setback or?
So, clearly this is going to be a setback on the pier. I'll give some information, maybe toss it in there on that one, but that is a helicopter 729, that's the Type 1, that's the heaviest lift helicopter that's in the county, and it has water dropping capabilities. That's what you just saw go by. The pier just went through a major utilities rehabilitation, and look, this is tragedy, but we had a new fire line put in place that was brought up to modern standards. I can tell you that rehab process helped us save this pier. You had a proper fire line in place, we had proper fire protection in place, and I think it's making a difference. So thank goodness we got that done in the time we did. All the other utilities were all brand new. Planks are constantly replaced. The pier has always been kept in as good a condition as possible up to this point. Mayor, do you want to add on that?
Well, we were actually mostly focused on the concrete part of the pier replacement because it's nearing 100 years, and that was basically the life of the concrete pier. So we're actually doing studies, completing those studies, the EIR process, to submit to the Coastal Commission. And that was basically went from 27 million to a $40 million project. The reason why it's so important is that it's starting to fall apart, so it's nearing a public safety issue. But we were not, this is not something that we were expecting. So just adding to what we need to do. The first part, the 100-year concrete part, absolutely necessary. Otherwise, people can't get onto the pier. And of course now, rebuilding the end, which is a very, very high priority.
Chief, can you speak on the wind impacts? I heard reports that there were flames moving eastbound, and of course the pier is made of wood. Can you talk about the fuel that the fuel impacts that the wood structure of the pier caused, and the wind impacts?
Okay, so yeah, the wind actually was causing us problems from the beginning. I can't see what it's doing right now, but when we arrived on scene, as typical at this time of the day in the city of Oceanside, we had an onshore flow. That onshore flow was pushing the fire down the pier towards the coastline along the wooden structure. It also, of course, obscures the fire, which was giving us a little bit of a difficult time finding where the seat of the fire was. So those are the impacts that the weather caused on us. The helicopters are able to hit it from above, the fireboats are able to hit it from below, and the firefighters are on the deck with the lifeguards hitting it from deck level. I will add that they had to stretch, even though we had a fire line in place that was fixed as part of the structure. One of the big manpower intensive things we had to do is we had to run 4-inch, which is our big water supply line, multiple strands down the pier to be able to supply enough water to make the firefight happen on the pier itself. Anything else on that one? All right, thank you. Any other questions?
Well, I came in a bit later. Can you please talk from the beginning when you got the call and how the conditions were when you got on scene?
Sure. So we received the call at 3:02 p.m. We had a 5-minute response time, arrived at 3:07. It was upgraded to what we call a working fire while we were traveling here because the lifeguards had already seen a large amount of smoke and fire. So we knew this was a big fire from the very start.
And you said it was a vacant restaurant?
The restaurant is not, there's no business in it. There were people either in it or in the area. I don't have the exact details, but nobody's been hurt, and everybody evacuated the pier. We're being evacuated and have been evacuated once I arrived on scene.
And as of right now, what are the conditions before compared to when you got here? How would you describe the conditions as of right now?
So we have made a knockdown on the fire that's on the top of the deck and the restaurant. We don't have full knockdown on the fire that's underneath, but we've slowed that down. And so we're making good progress, but we don't have full knockdown on the fire quite yet. And I'm going to get you an update here. You've got to give me about 30 minutes to get another update, and I'll be able to speak to where we are on that. Yeah, so let's do about 30 minutes. Come back here. I'll get you an update, and think of any questions you might have for any of us at that moment.